Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? We are 1 week away from the NFL draft. I love the draft. Y'all know it. I'm a draft nerd. I'm the guy who watches all 3 days. I sit there with my notebook. I love going through, formerly, the M&D draft report when Mike D was putting out his guide. It was awesome. I love going through where the value picks are in day 3, all that sort of stuff, as much as I do the intrigue of day 1. But the bottom line is you can change your franchise. You can change the organization with a successful draft like that. If you want a relative example, think of the New Orleans Saints. You had back-to-back 7 and 9 seasons, 2014, 15, 16. 2017, you have the greatest draft in the history of the organization, where you land not only starters, but elite-level starters: Marshawn Lattimore, Ryan Ramczyk, Alvin Kamara, Trey Hendrickson, Marcus Williams. Up and down that draft, hit, elite-level starters, and just like that, the Saints were back in the playoffs 17, 18, 19, 20, 4 straight years, making a run at it with Drew Brees before Brees retired, and we know what's happened since then. So if you want the reason, the glass half full, the optimistic vantage point for the New Orleans Saints, it's the draft, which it is for every team. Look at Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders. You go hit in the draft, you all know it. You can change the fortunes of an organization instantly. Well, one spot where the New Orleans Saints are certainly going to be looking is at cornerback. I don't think this is any great surprise. And there's another player that the New Orleans Saints have worked out. A report from, it was Schultz, excuse me. I want to make sure, I just want to give attribution to make sure that I have it right. It was Jordan Schultz who had the report that the New Orleans Saints went and worked out Korie Black, a cornerback out of Oklahoma State. He notes that Korie Black visited the Ravens and Giants. He'll finish with the Dolphins today on Thursday, but he has also had private workouts with the Saints and met via Zoom with 10 other teams. He had a blazing 4.35 40 and a 39-inch vertical. So you want to talk about relative athletic score, that's a big ding right there with the relative athletic score with Korie Black. 6 foot tall, a Oklahoma State prospect, and you can look at the stats. The thing, though, that's so interesting about him, you go look at Pro Football Focus, for example. This is a guy that this past year, in his weekly grades, graded out very high at Oklahoma State. His overall defensive grade was a 73.9. His coverage grade was a 74.5. His tackling grade was a 70.8. The lowest was run defense, but that don't even matter because he spent the majority of his snaps out on the boundary. As a matter of fact, he spent, of his snaps, 600 of his defensive snaps were at boundary corner. Next closest for context was 44 in the slot. So this is not a slot. This is not a nickelback. It's not a dime. He's not a hybrid safety. He is a boundary cornerback. And the Saints went and worked out Korie Black. So this will be fast. He was in man coverage. Not only did he play boundary, but he was in man coverage on 48% of his defensive snaps this year. So you have a boundary corner with great speed who is used to playing on an island, and also, as Ross Jackson noted in his piece over at LouisianaSports.net, was a shadow for the other team's best receiver the majority of the time, which is why he played 48% in man coverage. So you got a guy that's used to living on an island. And when you look at the draft, we often talk about wants, needs, and musts, right? The Saints kind of need everything. Cornerback is, if you're ranking them, I would argue probably at the top of your needs defensively. Because the 2 guys that were your starting cornerbacks a year ago in week 1 are both gone. Paulson Adebo now plays for the New York Giants. You traded Marshawn Lattimore to the Washington Commanders. So that meant last year, Kool-Aid McKinstry and Alontae Taylor played largely on the boundary for you. And that's a mixed bag. Kool-Aid was a second-round pick. I believe he is a boundary corner and will play well. Alontae Taylor is not. I like his physicality. I think Alontae Taylor is a safety, and this actually bears it out. Again, to go back to Pro Football Focus, and I don't mean to throw a bunch of numbers at you, but Remember, we were just talking about Korie Black, and all of his numbers were in the 70s, 73, 75 is great, his grades. Alontae Taylor's overall defensive grade a year ago was a 45. His coverage grade was a 35. His tackling grade was a 36. Like, his run defense grade was an 82. Very good. Very good in run defense, because that's what Alontae Taylor is. He's a box safety. He's a physical player at the line of scrimmage. He could probably play safety for you. He is not a boundary corner. But when you traded Lattimore and Adebo got hurt, you had to have someone go play boundary corner, and he did. Ended up playing 605 snaps at corner, 358 snaps in the slot. All that to say, you don't have to remember any of those numbers. Just understand that that was context to say Alontae Taylor's not a cornerback in the NFL. When you ask him to play corner, he's very bad. But you want him to provide run support, playing the slot, he can do that pretty well. You want him on the boundary? No go. So you've got to go address that. You didn't do it in free agency. You're going to do it in the draft here. And maybe add someone else after you start to see cuts and things like that after the draft as well. But if you're looking for a starter, you're probably looking in this draft class for someone to complement Kool-Aid McKinstry. And Korie Black's another one that they worked out. Now, you look at the number of workouts, the cornerback workouts that the Saints have done, there's a good number of them. Will Johnson is from Michigan, is going to be the first cornerback taken in this draft. And he may very well be there at 9 when the Saints pick. And I understand all this Shedeur conversation, and y'all know where I stand on it. If they take Shedeur at 9, I'm going to be good with it. But if you take your quarterback at 9, then you are going to have to be looking at a position like cornerback or receiver at 40, provided you stay there. So, if you want to look at, I just pulled up, like, for example, Field Yates, right? Field Yates has his final big board. These are his top prospects in the draft. He's got Will Johnson as the 10th overall prospect in the draft. So, like, that's a prospect that if he's there at 9, you take him, I'm pumped, because you have a starting cornerback. And I say it all the time, quarterbacks, those who protect quarterbacks and those who affect quarterbacks, are the most premium positions in the NFL. So quarterback, left tackle, defensive end, and then to a lesser degree, receiver, cornerback. So you can get an elite level boundary coverage cornerback. You love it if that's there. Yeah, I'm just kind of scrolling this Field Yates piece, and you look at the best corners available in the draft after Will Johnson at 9. He's got Jahdae Barron from Texas as the 18th best prospect in the draft. So that's someone who probably isn't going to be on the board when you pick at 40. Maxwell Hairston, the cornerback out of Kentucky at 22. You start to look and go, all right, well, who's going to be hanging around at that position when you get to 40? That's the more interesting conversation. Another guy that the Saints have worked out is Siobhan Revell out of East Carolina. He's gotten a lot of play in pub here leading up to this draft. So that's another guy to keep an eye on in round 2 potentially. For what it's worth, Field Yates has Revell number 51 overall as a round 2 grade. Benjamin Morrison, the cornerback out of Notre Dame, could be in that mix at 40 or as you move into round 3. Jacob Parrish out of Kansas State. Just some of the names worth mentioning as you get there. Trey Amos from Ole Miss is another guy that the Saints worked out. So when you're just looking, if you're compiling the list of players that the Saints either brought in for a top 30 visit, went to their pro day, had a private workout with that player, Will Johnson, Trey Amos, Siobhan Revell, Korie Black, like these are the names you have to be considering when you're watching the draft and you see best available, right? And you're thinking, could the Saints be thinking corner here? These are the names you got to be thinking about who might be on the board at the time they're picking. Because if you're going through the trouble of the financial commitment of flying someone into your facility to work them out privately, flying your staff to their pro day to go do a private workout on their campus, whatever it may be, there's a very clear interest. And cornerback is a spot where New Orleans has got to address. The latest there, again, is Korie Black out of Oklahoma State. Saints held a private workout, according to Jordan Schultz, another name to file away, as we are 1 week away from the start of the NFL Draft. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.